It's time for Southern Fried Baseball, presented by College Baseball Central. Hosted by Jake McKeever as he talks everything SEC baseball and more.
Welcome in, College Baseball Central fans. Jake McKeever, Andrew Rydell. Week 3 is behind us. I think it's safe to say this was the weekend of sweeps in the SEC. Wouldn't you agree, Andrew?
Yeah, a lot of stuff went the way we expected it, I feel like, but a lot of sweeps.
Yep. Your boy went a perfect 11-0, including the sweep of Texas over Missouri. So right back in the hunt there in our SEC pick'em. I think we can go ahead and start with a little bit unusual schedule this time. Texas's stud right fielder, Big 12 Player of the Year last year, Max Ballou, is going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. There is some hope that they would get him back in time for regionals. That's one news for Texas. Adrian Rodriguez and Rylan Galvan are both day-to-day after their injuries. I think the Adrian Rodriguez's came back negative. Rylan Galvan, if you remember correctly, it was a bunt that he was trying to field that fouled off the bat and hit his thumb. So that one's going to kind of be a nagging, lingering issue for him as well. The Texas depth, I think, is really going to get questioned. Through one game with Missouri, the depth seemed to be there.
Yeah.
Again, it is Missouri, but I will say this. They looked the most dominant of any of the SEC teams that went up and played Missouri. They won, was it 7-1, 15-4? What was the third one? They did a doubleheader. They dominated in every sense. This is, I think, the closest we came to breaking our one SEC Player of the Week rule as Ruger Riojas through 7 shutout innings. And Will Gasparino hit 6 home runs and 8 at-bats, I believe what it was. Just an unbelievable weekend for Texas. On, I believe it was their quote-unquote Saturday game, because they did a doubleheader. Mm-hmm. That was when they kind of went out and dominated that one. Let me see if I can pull up the box score, just because it was just like an unreal box score when you were following along with it.
Yeah.
15 runs on just 11 hits. I will say this. Every other team Missouri has given them a bit of a scare. Jared Spencer was all right. How do you feel about him in a Friday night role, by the way? I know it's probably it's going to get really tested this weekend against Georgia, but how do you feel about him in a Friday night role? Again, he was the winner, but 5 2/3, 5 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, 4 Ks, 88 pitches. They did chase Ian Loesch in the second, so maybe that's a little bit of what it was. So yeah. How do you feel about Jared Spencer going forward as the Friday night guy? Because I feel like he's good enough for this Texas team.
He is good enough, but Luke Harrison has kind of been better, it feels like. But Jared Spencer, I mean, his 3 SEC outings, this is by far his best one, it feels like. The LSU lineup kind of hit him around last week, and then Mississippi State gave him that welcome to the SEC moment. But I think he's a really good Friday night starter. I mean, obviously, Texas is putting a lot of trust in him, transferring in from Indiana State, where the competition level, obviously, compared there to the SEC, it's not that, like, Friday night there is, okay, it's going to be a competitive game, but, like, I'm going to go out there and dominate. But SEC Friday night's like, okay, I got to go out there and give it my all, hold these guys to maybe 1-2 runs because I'm facing future first-rounders and major leaguers.
Yeah. I would kind of agree with that too as well. I will say the Texas bullpen has been phenomenal. They are top 5 in the SEC as a whole staff, and a lot of that is because of the bullpen. I'll read you off some of his starts. Opening night against Louisville, he took the loss. Really wasn't his fault. 4 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 6 Ks. Dartmouth, 4 1/3, 3 hits, 1 run, 5 walks, 6 Ks. Washington, which was his best outing, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 9 Ks. Santa Clara, 2 hits over 5 innings. Then in SEC play, 5 2/3, 5 earned runs, 7 strikeouts. Last week at LSU, like you mentioned, 5 2/3. So, I mean, Texas is the only thing that worries me a little bit about Texas, and we kind of saw it with A&M, is that with Georgia, is when you get a little bit too reliant on the bullpen, it seems like every single time that always eventually comes back to bite you in the ass one weekend. I should say this. It's very hard to find something wrong with this Texas team at the moment. They are a complete team. They are I think a weekend rotation type team, and that you feel really good about the 3 starters that they roll out facing just about anybody in the SEC. They have a really dynamic lineup that can kind of beat you in a lot of different ways. I will say this. Max Ballou is going to be a big loss for them because I think it puts a ton of pressure on Will Gasparino to continue to hit home runs, on Jalen Flores to continue to hit home runs, even to some extent Adrian Rodriguez, Evan Mendoza, that you didn't really expect because he's a big guy to kind of replace. They're probably going to replace him with Easton Winfield. If you remember correctly, he actually technically won the job, but remember, if you remember, Max Ballou had that illness week 1, so he coached. He really hasn't at times looked the best. Again, maybe one of these guys that slide in for Adrian. I think Casey Borba is going to slide in if Adrian Rodriguez can't go. Obviously, they've been really high on Cole Chamberlain. He had a great spring practice. Hasn't really looked that good. Duplantier is another one that you could kind of see get in the mix. But as it sits right now, Tommy Farmer is hitting 266. He's a really dynamic fielder. I think that they might even move him to right. Easton Winfield's hitting a $189 with 14 starts. No home runs for him. So it really is a very, very steep drop-off. And for reference, Evan Mendoza is hitting almost 400, who's in front of him. But Max Ballou, you're replacing 358, 6 home runs, 22 RBIs. He was the Big 12 Player of the Year last year. Mm-hmm. And you're replacing him with somebody who's a complete inverse of somebody. Yeah, he's a better – I think Easton Winfield's obviously, I think, a little bit more athletic. I'm going to be honest. I have never seen Max Ballou throw somebody out, so I have no idea if he has a good arm or not.
Yeah.
I assume he does if he's in right field, but, I mean, it's somebody not named Easton Winfield's going to have to pick up the slack in this lineup. And I think that they have the depth to do it. It's just going to be one of those things where we kind of have to wait and see.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that like they've kind of gotten opportunities on this Texas lineup. You mentioned with Easton Winfield. He's also just like striked out a lot this season so far.
18 strikeouts in 14 games.
Yeah, Duplantier. I don't think he hasn't gotten that many opportunities. He's only played in like 5 or 6 games, I feel like.
8 games, 1 start, 9 at-bats, 1 hit, just because I have the box in front of me. Just so we don't confuse our users, I think we should refer to him exclusively as Gumbo, because that is the nickname that all the players called him last year. I assume that that's what they still call him. Matt Scott is a deep sleeper for him. He's a freshman from Klein Oak. He had a really good fall when I got to see him, and then in the alumni game, he got a big hit there. If Easton Winfield can't go, they could really kind of get nutty with this lineup too as well, because left field isn't like shortstop, for example. Like do you stick Kimball out there and move Galvan to first with the finger injury? Like they can really get kind of nutty with it. But the easiest thing is Easton Winfield just hitting. I think that kind of will solve a lot of these worries that Jim Salcedo has.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big loss, but the way this Texas team's been playing, it feels like a lot of these younger guys are going to step up.
I would agree too as well. So here's your question. Do you trust this Texas bullpen to continue to be top 5 in the nation from an ERA standpoint? Because I'm going to be honest, I do. I really do trust Max Wiener, but I didn't realize that they were as high as they were until I saw that graphic today.
Yeah, I do trust them.
They played Mississippi State, who is a pedantic offense. They played Missouri, who's Missouri, and they played an LSU lineup that's really dynamic that I believe leads the country in a few offensive categories. So they played good enough teams, I feel like. Obviously, Georgia coming to town, I think, will be a huge test for this bullpen, for the outs and stuff like that. Because I don't know how you slow down that Georgia team. I know that we'll talk about it probably more on Wednesday, but do you give the advantage to Texas or do you give it to Georgia?
I give it to Georgia. I give it to Georgia the way they're swinging their bats. I don't know how you get them out. I really don't. Like maybe like you pray that actually I do know how. You start a game before noon. Yes.
But it has to be over before noon, because the second the clock strikes noon, they start hitting again.
Yeah, you got to get a rare 8 a.m. game.
Yeah, the 9 a.m. special, if you will.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the Thursday series. We'll start with probably the biggest surprise of all. Mississippi State in the rain-filled weekend that was Baton Rouge. They sweep Mississippi State. Mississippi State was in all 3 games, but at the end of the day, they just really couldn't get it done. Scores for that one are as follows. Mississippi State sits again at 1-8 in the SEC. 8-6, 2-1, 17-8 when they kind of ran out of pitching. On top of Saturday, losing 13-11, losing 7-3 to OU, losing 4-1 to Texas, losing 5-3 to Texas, losing 8-7 to Texas. So they're in the arena, but as it sits right now, they are 1-8 in the SEC. Before we talk about LSU, it's panic time in Starkville, right?
Yes.
And I think even more scary is that you can't point to a single thing that's wrong with Mississippi State. I know that when they were really, really bad a few years ago, you could point at the pitching, you could point at the walks, but this team just doesn't know how to win at the end of the day. Like, Pico Khan gave them a good start against Oklahoma a week ago. Obviously didn't have his best stuff this week. Saturday, they get a tremendous, tremendous start from your boy. And then Sunday, we saw, the Stone Steinman show where they just blew him out of the water. I don't know what to make of this Mississippi State team. Ace Reese is really good for him. Obviously, Aaron Downs. But I feel like there's a lot of it. There's just no feel, I feel like, for this team. I feel like they're great at hitting with runners, like with nobody on. But when they get runners on, I feel like they just struggle. They struggle with 2-out hitting. They struggle with runners on. They went 2 for 14 in that Pico Khan game, which Pico Khan gave him a good chance to win. I forgot that they threw him on Saturday. But, this is a bad state team, and I feel like the worst part about this state team, as somebody who went to Mississippi State, is that nobody outside of our fan base is talking about how much they suck. And I think that's the biggest indicator about this Mississippi State team is everybody in the national media, me included, has checked out on them. It's just already – it's like South Carolina, if you will. And I think that's the scariest thing about this kind of downturn with Mississippi State.
Yeah, Pico was good on Friday. He was very he wasn't electric. I thought he was very good. Struck out 8, and the only 2 mistakes he had were the home runs to Luis Hernandez and Ethan Frey, and they still couldn't find a way to win.
I'll say this about it. I get that LSU has good pitching. I get that Anthony Ianson isn't your everyday Friday night guy, quote unquote, or Saturday guy. But at the end of the day, it's your Friday night ace against an SEC team Saturday guy. And at the end of the day, the Saturday guy outdueled your Friday night guy. Yes, it's Anthony Ianson. Yes, LSU's kind of a little bit of an exception. But they had 6 walks. Like, they put themselves into a position where a good team would have taken what LSU gave them and ran with it. And unfortunately, Mississippi State's just not that team.
Yeah. You hit it right on the nail. You can't be leaving 12 runners on base. You got all these opportunities from LSU's pitching staff. Ianson was I think he was good, not great. And I thought Kason Evans was good. But they gave you opportunities to blow open that game and to win it 6-2 because Pico and Stone were very good.
Yeah, they were tremendous. They
gave you every opportunity to win that game. And
which I feel good about. Which here's the part I didn't really understand. Why isn't Stone Simon pitching in the weekend anymore?
I think he
like in the rotate. Wasn't he the Sunday guy a few weeks ago?
Yeah, I think he.
Do you feel like that's your best chance to win? Is him giving you a starter 2.0 behind Pico Khan? It really did feel like that Ianson game, that every single thing that they could have done to win the game, they tried to do. And, they hit on 15 and got the 8 is what it really felt like with Mississippi State on that Pico Khan start. That's enough dogging on Mississippi State. How do you feel about LSU going forward? Obviously, they feel very, very top heavy from a lineup standpoint. I take that back. I don't know why the fuck I said that. That's completely wrong. I was looking at the notes on one of my other teams. It's a deep, 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 deep lineup. Do you think Daniel Curiel will continue to hit over 400 in the SEC? Because every part of me wanted to say no, and then you look at advanced data on TrackMan, and you're like, okay, this is gonna like continue.
Yeah, I think he's gonna continue. I've talked to former scouts, current scouts, and other college coaches already about him, and they keep on saying the same thing. It's like LSU really gets 3 years of this guy, and this kid's just gonna be one of the greatest, not greatest, but one of the best LSU hitters to come through Baton Rouge.
I would agree. I think
you look at his at bats as a freshman, 29 walks to 21 Ks. I mean, obviously, the strikeout numbers are a little high, but not that high. It's phenomenal for a freshman.
I think this is a crazy statement. I never thought I would ever say this. He feels more advanced than Dylan Cruz was at this point in his career.
Yes.
And then he has Bear Jones sitting right behind him. Daniel Dickinson's another guy that they just absolutely, again, I should say this, they should get a little bit of credit, him coming over from UVU. He was a very highly recruited person. But Luis Hernandez, that dude's really fighting for his role right now, and it feels like every time SEC play, he hits a home run. I mean, you and I have talked about it, that every single thing that we hear out of this LSU program is Cade Arabidi.
Yeah.
And Luis Hernandez is absolutely playing out of his mind, I think, in the SEC. If they can get, Michael Braswell, even Chris Stanfield to some extent going at the SEC rate that Chris Stanfield was at last year, I think it becomes a really dangerous team. Obviously, they're still chasing bullpen issues. They didn't have those this weekend. Mississippi State doesn't really punish you like some of these other teams in the SEC do. They'll double you to death. They'll bunt you to death.
I think Braswell's out of the lineup.
He played on Saturday or he played on Friday.
I think it's Tanner Reed's job now, though.
Like official, like
I think like
speculating, or like you think that what we saw Saturday is what we see full time.
I think what we saw Saturday is like full time now. I mean,
he did pinch hit. I should add that. Michael Braswell
he did, but that was because I think something was up with. I think something's been going around that locker room, especially with the rain in the area. They did have a very long 2 days on Friday and Saturday and Sunday morning.
Sunday morning.
those rain delays were absolutely torture. I feel bad for Koki Riley, the NOLA.com reporter for LSU. He was there till 6 a.m. Writing his review of the series, and I can only imagine the guys, players especially pitchers, having to get hot, get cold, get hot, get cold. But
I mean, we saw that Saturday with Carson Logan getting chased in the first inning, just getting absolutely boat raced around that. But I mean, LSU went with 7 pitchers on Sunday. Some of them were great, some of them weren't.
That was because I don't know if this is official that Shores left the game because his eye was swollen, because he did finish that inning, and I mean, yes, his eye was swollen shut, but I think he would have came out after that 4th inning. His pitch count was he was at 75.
I mean, they were up 9-4, so I mean, but again, why
risk it? He would have gotten one more. This outing was much better than last week against Texas. Obviously, he didn't walk 5 guys. He limited the damage. Mississippi State did kind of get on him, but like I said, that was just like.
I mean, when you're pitching with one eye, I mean, I can't even I can't even do anything with one. I can even I'm trying to think of stuff that I would do that would require me to do 2 eyes.
And I think Jay mentioned this about how he was really hoping they would get 5 innings in, and then when they got up 8-0, it's like, well, now we need to get 5 innings in. He was trying to get some pitchers work. He was trying to get I'm looking at their box score from Sunday morning now. Chase Shores, Connor Ware, they were trying to get work. Rizzi, Primo, Benj, Williams, Newt, they're all trying to get work from them and trying to figure out that bullpen after Kason Evans and Zach Cowan. One name that did not throw it all this weekend was William Schmidt. So
and Gavin Guidry. Gavin Guidry.
If anyone else knows what's going on with Gavin Guidry, please.
That is the biggest mystery, I think, in all of sports right now.
I've asked.
We've heard it's a nagging injury. We've heard it's we've heard crazy conspiracy theories about it that I don't even really want to entertain on this show.
Nope.
But at the end of the day, he's just not pitching. Like it really is. And even like the insiders at LSU don't know. Like
they've kept it very tight sealed. I've talked to multiple people about it, and I've heard the same thing. And then I've heard the crazy conspiracy theories, and it's like, no, I'm just gonna. It's a nagging back injury. It's a nagging back injury.
But I mean, Caden Sorrell had a nagging back injury, and he played this weekend. So Ike Irish had a nagging back injury and played. Missed a week?
Yeah, 10 days. I mean, maybe Gavin Guidry just needs 10 days off. I mean, he's gotten 10 weekends off now, but yeah.
LSU, obviously, I think is still a good team. They're still in that. I feel like I'm starting to see a little bit of signs of weakness from them that I haven't seen in years past, I would say. I think the bullpen's still kind of sewn together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the lineup's that dynamic like Tennessee, LSU, Alabama, Texas to mask. So, I don't think that they'll win that. I mean, obviously they scored 17 this weekend, so it feels weird saying. I don't think that you can expect them to hit the way that like Georgia hits in a weekend. And I feel like with their bullpen, I feel like it would be a lot better than it is.
I agree. I think like they're not going to have weekends like Georgia. They're not going to have weekends where they're going to put up 15 in every game. It's going to be like a complete team effort. It's going to have to be the pitching doing its job and the hitting's doing its job, the bullpen doing its job. And we saw it at Texas last week where the hitting would come in and do its job, but then pitching wouldn't back it up.
It would disappear at times, though, the hitting.
Yes.
And again, I feel like we can officially state is dead. They're not making the tournament this year, right?
Yeah, they're dead. I wouldn't be shocked to see a coaching change after the season. I'm ready to say it, I think.
LSU played around a little bit with a team that they shouldn't have played around with. I think that's and again, there's going to be a lot of LSU fans that probably aren't going to like that. I thought LSU, they have yet to look dominant in the SEC in any way, shape, or form.
They've showed signs of
dominance. They've shown flashes. They've shown flashes.
That like first inning
Friday night.
The first inning on Saturday, it's like, oh wow, yes, this is what they need. And then they led Mississippi State back in with a four spot in the second. Texas on Friday, dominant. Oh wow, we knocked Jared Spencer out. Okay, we're getting to this bullpen early. Drop Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah. And we get to Sunday after we dominate a Friday and Saturday guy, and he absolutely goes out and shoves.
Yes.
And again, I feel like some of these elite teams, I feel like we have to get nitpicky with. I'm going to say something. I think LSU has moved from worst team in Tier 1 to the best team in Tier 2. And I think Texas has replaced them in the hierarchy of the SEC.
I'm going to
This season, not program.
Obviously not program. I'm not ready to agree on that. I think I need to see. I have Texas higher in my rankings. I have Texas. If I had to release an SEC power ranking, Texas would be higher than LSU. But I think LSU rounds out that first tier category right now.
Yeah, I think that they're right on that cut line. Moving on to a team that has probably played their way into that Tier 2 that a lot of people had really low. Ole Miss goes out and takes 2 of 3 from the Florida Gators in a kind of odd series because they played one Thursday, 2 Friday. I actually watched this game on Thursday at a sports bar eating crawfish. Hunter Elliott was absolutely tremendous. The lineup depth really kind of came on. It felt like every time Florida kind of worked themselves back into the game, obviously they had the Wilson home run.
Mm-hmm.
First things first, let me go ahead and get this out of the way. Another injury news, by the way. This one is not public, so this is pure speculation, so take it with a grain of salt. Curlin is going to be out for the year. A little bit of insider information there for our listeners. Curlin is going to be out for the year, I believe. It's a long-term injury from some of the people that I've talked to around Florida's program. They don't have any anticipation of him coming back. Obviously, they're going to have people step up. Can I say something that I'm going to clip later?
Of course.
I don't think Florida's dead.
Oh, I agree.
I don't think they're dead at all. I think Again, they showed some promise. They showed some fight. Ole Miss has turned into a tough place to go in and play. They had an argument to be in that game on Friday night. They had an argument to be in that game, win that game Thursday. They had an argument to win game one on Friday. They play Vandy at home, who is very beatable. They play Missouri at home.
Oh my God.
They play Mississippi State on the road.
Well,
They play Arkansas, then they go to South Carolina, and then they go to Texas, and then they play Bama, which the way Bama is going to be set up right now, that might even mean nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, they sit at 1-8 right now, right? They take 2 of 3 from Vandy. They sweep Missouri and they sweep Mississippi State. That gets them to, what is that?
So they
9-10.
Yes.
9-9. That's in the hunt in every sense of the word. And I think that they have they're going to have to figure out their rotation. I know that they're still working through that one. Aiden King, he's been humbled a little bit. Liam Peterson's going to have to figure it out a little bit more than he has. Let me see the other one. But the lineup's really good. I really like the lineup. I know that at times it's disappeared. I felt like it's ad nauseum with how they were last year. But I will say this. I think they got to be a little bit better than they were last year if they expect to make the tournament. I think that they got a lot of crap for it last year.
They got hot at the right time last year. They got hot in the tournament, found a way to Omaha, and then just like that spark ran out. This year, I don't think they're that better than they were last year. Obviously now with Curlin out for the rest of the year, we started to see Blake Sear get a little hot. Or Blake Sear get a little hot this weekend. Luke Heyman had a hell of a weekend. Brody Donay, he's hit or miss right now. He started off hot.
He either hits a home run or he strikes out.
He's a midweek. They're starting to call him a midweek merchant now. I mean, I was very impressed with that game 3, that Sunday game, as you would say.
The doubleheader. They scored 5 in the 9th. Like that.
This team has no quit.
No, and I will say this. When you watched that game on Thursday at the front end, when Hunter Elliott's absolutely mowing them down, and Kevin O'Sullivan's running out, pitcher after pitcher after pitcher after pitcher, it was just the wildest thing ever. And I was watching it, and I was like, how the hell are they in this game?
Yeah.
Like, they just kind of kept chipping, because I think they had the tying run to the plate in multiple innings. I think in the 7th and the 8th. Luke, here's the part I don't get, by the way. Why don't they start Hayden Federico, Ole Miss, at short? Like, he's a shortstop by trade, and he's their best hitter.
I mean, he started SEC playoff with the home run against. I think he kind of cooled down after that. No, he went off against Missouri.
Yeah, but he DHs. Do you know? Like, they have Luke Chang play short. Yeah. They did move Braden Randall over there. Is it strictly because he didn't dye his hair?
Yeah, they are a tradition school at Ole Miss.
Yeah, did he refuse that? Did the seniors not let him dye the hair yet? And it's just a bad omen for him. Is that maybe we need some hard hitting journalism? Maybe that's why he's not playing shortstop. Is he's not he hasn't dyed his hair yet? But in all seriousness, I think that this really showed a lot about how Ole Miss is. They are a resilient group that really doesn't need to count on a bunch of people at one time. They're a solid lineup 1 through 9. Will Furnace on Friday night. His bat stays in the zone a long, long time. It's a very slower swing, but when you watch the slow motion of it, like his bat path is in the zone for so long. Like it really is. Every part, it's like a softball swing in like a good way. I think Ryan Moorman's been another guy that's been just absolutely tremendous for him at times. Luke Hill, I think, is the one that kind of makes that offense go. But Ole Miss just has a bunch of people that step up. They're a close-knit group. I really like that. I like them a ton. I like that whole trio of OU, Alabama, and Ole Miss. I think one of those teams is gonna make it to Omaha. I think Ole Miss has the talent to go to Omaha.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit on the one guy you didn't mention because I got to watch him a lot last year at UNO, Mitchell Sanford, and I used to watch him at LSU, obviously. Mitchell Sanford transferring in his
He's good. I
final
like
year.
him a ton.
Yeah, he's been gritty. He was the Southland Hitter of the Year last year. He's just shown that like he deserves to be an SEC play. It felt like when he first left LSU, he kind of left there with like a chip on his shoulder, went to UT Arlington, got hurt there, went to UNO. And UNO is like a gritty team. They're a weird team, but they're a gritty team. But
they have a lot of pride at UNO, I should say.
They do. I went to that UNO Tulane game last week, and it was like such a weird game to be at. It was like a cult. But yeah, Mitchell Sanford's been phenomenal for them.
I went and saw them when they played Incarnate Word. I think it was like 2 years ago, and yeah, they're a weird team.
Yeah,
in a good way. But I mean, Hunter Elliott's good. Riley Maddox obviously wasn't his usual self. Bullpen really gave him a big boost there. Then Micah Nichols on the back end. Braden Jones was tremendous to kind of slam the door for him. I absolutely love how far he rolls his shoulders up, by the way.
Yeah.
Because he's not that muscular either. Like, it'd be like if me or you were wearing like cutoff shirts at the beach. Like, I think that's hilarious, by the way.
I've heard those Ole Miss jerseys are like not comfortable. They're tight around the sleeve or tight around the shoulders that you gotta roll them up to like.
I heard that about their creams. I heard their creams aren't very comfortable, and that's why they don't like wearing them.
Yeah, which is weird because they're one of the best jerseys in college baseball.
Since we're on the jersey rant, I hate their new blues. I think they're a disgrace to the old ones.
The new navy blue?
Yeah, no, the baby blues. Their new baby blues are terrible. You're going to have to see a side-by-side of it, yeah. It's got different stripes on the pants. It's got the font looks cheap for now with the old. They absolutely massacred my boy.
Okay, I see it. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, like it's a disgrace. It's sacrilegious.
Yeah, that's terrible. Why'd they?
I mean, there's not really too much more we could talk about with Ole Miss. Like, I really like them going forward. I think we'll talk about them more. I think that you kind of have to move them into that tier 2 in the SEC. They're a solid squad. Moving on to probably the least dramatic series of the weekend, the Tennessee Volunteers absolutely roll into Columbia and sweep Carolina. I mean, this is like a sheep with a broken ankle meets the wolf. Like, what did you expect to happen? I will say this. I watched the Saturday game on Wheels, and the amount of singles that South Carolina hits is just insane.
Yeah.
They hit 10 singles outside of their one home run from Jay Swata, or like they just single you to death. It was just maddening because I was watching the game. I was like, how did South Carolina score? Like, I was kind of half paying attention, and I was like, how did they score all these runs in the fifth? Like, why are we at a tie game?
Single. Let me check how many did they had 2 extra base hits when they scored 7 runs on Friday. On Saturday,
it was just a homer.
Yep, Saturday was just the home run by Jace.
Just one double.
One double.
They had 10 hits and only 1 extra.
9 singles. They're not.
They're the funniest team.
There's that video going around of Paul Maneri.
I thought you were gonna talk about them being out at the bars.
What?
Yeah, did you not see that one?
No, they what?
Let me find it.
Maybe that's why Paul Maneri was reacting like that.
From Yardcox 3. Jesus Christ, this fucking burner tweets so much. What the fuck is it? Did he delete it?
Paul Maneri sent us Hitchman.
Yeah, pulmonary. Which I will say this. When I was doing some of their preseason stuff. Sorry, it was not from Yardcocks. Yardcocks just tweeted it. This is from Jersey Gamecock at Bush League Pod with 2 Ds. There is Ethan Petrie out with LaCroix and SU. I'm gonna say this. Hot take. I don't care. They're college kids. Every single team in the country goes out on weekends. I had friends that played at major D1 universities, and when I would go watch them, we would go out. There are numerous people at SEC programs in Texas that I can verbatim name that go out. That is a complete non-issue. Them. That is not why they lost. They lost because they only hit singles. They did not lose because they went. Which, by the way, no beers on the table. Just food.
They could have had some mozzarella sticks at a bar, you know.
Yeah, actually, I do. I think that's apple juice, by the way, because no one drinks beer out of a plastic cup at a bar. So it's just apple juice. So all the South Carolina fans can just chill out a little bit. Let the boys play.
They got to play a little better.
I mean, you go to school in New Orleans. Do y'all go out after games?
No comment. No, we don't. Well, since we do the whole Friday, Saturday.
So you go out on Saturday, but
Saturday night, yeah.
There is a certain team that won the national championship that went out the Thursday in Omaha. I know these guys go out all the time, and this is just the ultimate cope from South Carolina fans.
I can make I'm not going to say the name. I'm not going to say the name of this player, but after one of their games, one of their first games of conference play, they texted one of my friends saying, after I get the shower and do my interviews, you want to go out? And it was a Friday night game. So you got to remember they are college kids. They are, for the most part, responsible. Yeah, they're allowed to. It's also different. It's different when, one, you are the 2023 LSU Tigers in Omaha, knowing you're going to
Allegedly.
And you know you're gonna beat Florida. You know you had Paul Skeens ready to go and just die on that mound for you. And it's different.
Could you argue the inverse? That you've already played your A game and B, and you've already played your A game on Friday and Saturday, and you know you're not going to beat them. So is it the complete inverse? I mean, your Friday night guy got hit by a home run in batting practice.
Yeah. Well, he got hit in the head, and now it's his groin that's hurt. So, we talked about it last week. It feels like South Carolina can just pack up shop and get ready to hit the portal hard this upcoming off season.
Yeah, it's pulmonary is just looking for some kind of positive thing.
And it's crazy because
it's not him. It really shows you how bad the program was under the last regime, because their best players are transfers, right? Like Kazmar's their best fielder. Scobie is a true freshman.
Paul
Petrie.
Yeah,
I think he's an anomaly though, more than anything.
I don't want to.
At the end of the day, Tennessee didn't have Gavin Keelan. I think he pinch hit, by the way, randomly.
Am
I making that up?
No, because he pitched hit on Saturday.
Okay, yeah, I was like, I know I saw that.
When I was working on the SEC leaders, his batting average moved like 0.1 of a point from last week. So I think he pitched hit on Saturday. Yeah.
I mean, I think that this shows the program that Tony V has built. That let me find the quote, because it was really one of the craziest things, and it really kind of symbolizes, I think, where the South Carolina program is.
And it's not like that. South Carolina's former head coach is about to be the next head coach at Creighton. It's not like Mark Kingston is the head coach in waiting. That's going to be an interesting one next year when Kingston is at Creighton.
South Carolina played for the national championship 3 years in a row, and now they might not even play for the tournament 3 years in a row. I think that's the best way to describe South Carolina baseball at its current state.
Yeah, it's eyewash watching that team.
They don't do a lot of things good. Like, I know that's kind of harsh. Like, they're not fat. They're not like, which this feels weird to say because Missouri's really bad. So I don't want this to say that, like, but at least Missouri knows that they can't hit. So they do like weird, unique stuff, right?
They try, yeah.
Kentucky to some extent. But I feel like South Carolina is just like a line them up, beat you type of team that can't hit anything other than singles.
I mean, let me see. Do you know who South Carolina has this week?
They have.
Because I remember looking at it and, yes. They have they got Mississippi State.
They have Murderers Row, Mississippi State, A&M, and Ole Miss.
Yeah. I think that's like the only series A&M wins in SEC.
They play Missouri.
Yeah. That was what I was going to ask. Does South Carolina play Missouri? They don't.
A&M, South Carolina. That's going to be a wild series for bad things.
I feel bad for South Carolina fans because this once was a program that had Whit Merrifield, Jackie Bradley Jr. going nuts in their outfield and infield, winning back-to-back national championships, and now you have a former. This is kind of like I don't want to say it's like John Calipari going to Arkansas because he succeeded at Arkansas. And I think
you know what it is.
Hmm.
It's Pulmonary in like after the Kramer years is what it feels like.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Except it's South Carolina, except he can't buy his way out of it like he could at LSU. But they weren't very competitive, which I feel like we spent the whole time crapping on South Carolina. It's Tennessee. Tennessee's very good. Tennessee's probably going to sweep again. They might break their record from last year.
I've said this multiple times already. I think this is like when it's all said and done, if this team doesn't win it all, it's a failure of a season. And like obviously not gonna, because I truly believe that this team could be one of the greatest. Like,
oh, they are. They're so deep. I mean,
when you look at their stats, whenever that final day, whenever we have the final rankings, the final like stats come out, we're gonna see Tennessee. We're gonna see Liam Doyle, Marcus Phillips, Dean Curley, Hunter Ensley, Andrew Fisher, Reese Chapman,
Gavin Keelan,
Kevin Keelan, Dylan Loy. We're gonna see all these guys
Cannon Peebles,
just like scattered through these stats.
Oh, I mean, yeah, they're gonna. Here's the part that's crazy, is that no one talks about them being a pitching team. Like when we talk about teams in the SEC, they're the number one team in ERA in the entire country.
That's the crazy. Yeah,
that includes Ivy Leagues that don't really bang the ball out of the yard. That includes Patriot Leagues. That includes SWAC. The inverse side of it. Every single team in the country is looking up at Tennessee, and Tennessee has played good SEC competition. It's not like they've played, Missouri, Mississippi State. Like they played a solid Florida team, like I said, that we just talked about, and Alabama. South Carolina. But they played South Carolina at home. Like South Carolina is still a tough place to go and play. Like at the end of the day.
Well, that goes to all the credit to Frank Anderson and Josh Reynolds, who run their pitching department. Or Frank Anderson's their pitching coach, but Josh Reynolds, he was the pitching coach at Cincinnati, then took an off the field job being like their assistant pitching coach. But he's really like he's their pitching, like he's their Max Wiener. And if we're talking about like best pitching minds in college baseball,
I'd put him up there.
Max Wiener and then Josh Reynolds right behind him.
From one disappointing Maroon team, we move to another one on the other side of the conference. Texas A&M did get their first one on Friday night against Kentucky. Kentucky chases every single starter for Texas A&M really, really early. Justin Lampkin went 5 innings, 7 runs. I'm going to be honest. They left him out there a little bit too long. Sunday is the whole thing with the clock. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Friday, Kentucky goes up 7-1. Their bullpen blows it down the stretch. There is a legitimate world Kentucky sits at, 4-5 in the SEC, that they are 7-2. And it's really not even that crazy. If they can, I'll say this and I'll clip this. If they can figure out even a minuscule of a bullpen, I think this is a host level team in the SEC.
I agree.
You look up and down this lineup, like they have a bunch of guys hitting over 300. Luke Lawrence, lineup? Tyler Bell, Patrick Herrera, Sean Montoya, Cole Hage. I mean, him and Tyler Bell went like 8 for 8 at one point in the series where you couldn't get either of them out. They're a good, solid team. And again, A&M finally realized that when you overtax your starting pitching, what happens? Weston Moss saved them on Friday night, going 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs. And then from there, they had nobody step up. I mean, listen to this. Clayton Frescorn, no hits, or no outs recorded, 2 hits, 3 runs allowed, and a hit by pitch. Luke Jackson, 1 out recorded, 1 hit, 1 run. Caden McCoy, 2 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs. Brad Arudis, 2 hits, 3 runs. On Sunday, we saw Miles Patton get chased in the 4th. Clayton Frescorn, again, only records 1 out. Caden Wilson goes 2 1/3. Luke Jackson was all right. I don't know how to feel about them. They are every single week we find something wrong with this team. Like, at the end of the day, they lack a killer instinct and they lack being a cohesive unit.
Every week I've kept trying to believe and buy back into this team. And then I sit down, watch them, and I leave impressed with how bad they are. Which is crazy because when June comes around, or July, whenever the draft is, when July comes around, we're going to see Jace how do you say his last name?
Lavalette.
We're going to see Jace go top 5 in this year's draft. We're going to see Ryan Prager go top 3 rounds probably. We're going to see multiple players in this A&M lineup.
We're going to see Caden Kent go in the first 5 rounds. We're going to see Miles Patton. We're going to see Justin Lampkin.
It's mind-boggling, and it's going to lead into just the biggest what if with this team because they are so loaded, and it's like watching – it's kind of like watching the Atlanta Braves in the mid-2000s with how loaded they were. They had they had Smoltz, Glavine, and Maddox. I mean, obviously, you can't really compare it to these 3 Texas A&M guys, but that's how I'm seeing it.
I would say this though. I know that's a crazy thing to say, but realistically, when you look at Justin Lampkin, how many better Saturday guys are there? Anthony Ianson, Zach Root / Gabe Gacko, whichever they throw.
Mm-hmm. Marcus Phillips,
Luke Harrison, maybe, but
yeah.
So I mean, you can put them anywhere from 3 to 5. Miles Patton,
yeah. It's
what do you put? I mean, Beetle Cheese, obviously Ruger Riojas is above him.
It's just crazy how we're saying all these names and we've watched how good this team has been.
They just find new ways to lose.
Yes,
they. You know that old phrase, I've been saying this to people. You know that old phrase with Al Davis, just win, baby?
Yeah.
It's just lose. You look up, Saturday, you're like, okay, they have 11 walks.
It's mind-boggling.
They have 11 walks. They leave 12 of men on base. They hit 5 home runs. And they lost.
It's so I want to give credit to Kentucky and Nick.
Kentucky's good. I ranked Kentucky 25th. I think that they, for a team that's been kicked in the mud and kicked in the dirt, they are resilient. They're a close-knit group. They love to fight for each other. They do weird stuff in a good way.
That's how Nick Mingione is, though.
It's a good team. And again, it's a team that's been kicked around. It's a team that gets up and fights. It was there on Friday night when they blew that game in the bullpen. Of their losses, every single one of them had been because of the bullpen. And on Saturday, I thought this was absolutely wild, by the way. James McCoy enters as a pinch runner for Ethan Heidel after a walk. Doesn't really warm up because it was mid-inning, and it kind of caught everybody off guard in the dugout just because I was down there in the well. During an A&M bullpen session, he gets somebody to come over, and they warm up really quick. He throws maybe 10 throws. He rolls ground balls to people for, I believe it was an inning.
Yeah.
And then he closes the game in the ninth. It was the crazy. He comes in. A&M loads the bases. Well, actually, let me double check. I'll look up the play-by-play because I'm trying to remember if it was. Yeah, they had bases loaded, down 3 runs with Caden Sorrell up, who hit a home run earlier in the game. And the reserve first baseman gets the final out of the game. He pops out.
That's crazy.
We'll talk about Saturday or Sunday. There was a travel curfew in place, and Kentucky used every single part of their fiber to get it to that. At the end of the day, A&M was down 10-5. Every coach in the country does that. Ben Cleaver was phenomenal for him again. 5 2/3, 2 runs. Miles Patton was not phenomenal. Clayton Freshcorn was not very good. I'm not going to say that. That's actually really mean. It's a good – I'm going to keep that one to myself. I don't want any A&M fans. Kentucky's a good team. I really do think that. I think that Luke Lawrence – actually, I'll pose the question to you because I said it on Twitter. Do you think Luke Lawrence and Tyler Bell are the best double-play duo in the SEC right now?
No, because I get to watch Stephen Malam and Daniel Dickinson.
I'd put Luke Lawrence and Tyler Bell above those two.
Yeah, I still go with my LSU guys over them. That's just
I was thinking Gavin Keelan and Dean Curley, but I think
top 3. Those are the top 3, though. I think
I would say those 3, but I think there's an argument, for Luke Lawrence and Tyler. I mean, Tyler Bell's going to go top 5 in the draft in 2 years.
And that's the thing, because we can make this argument about Kentucky, about Luke Lawrence and Tyler Bell being the top SEC double play duo. And it's well, no one's really watched Kentucky. It's Kentucky's obviously we watch, we live and breathe SEC.
Kentucky's our Stanford.
Yes. So it's Kentucky, it's people go and look at the box scores for Kentucky. It's oh, okay, Kentucky won. Cool. And it's I don't think a lot of people – I think only people knew that the travel curfew happened, and it's because Mingione and Michael Early were going face-to-face yelling at each other about it. That's the only reason people knew about it.
Okay, I will say this. If you really want to place blame on somebody, it's I watched that game. It was the home plate umpire that allowed it to happen. You can't fault Nick Mingione for doing that because the home plate umpire – got mad at Michael Early for calling him out on it. It was the crazy. They let him change batteries, I think 3 or 4 times. Why are you as a home plate? The home plate umpire was Nick Mingione literally walked so slow to the mound and then argued stuff that really shouldn't have been argued. He waited for the home plate umpire to come out and get him. The home plate umpire had no control over this game. Nick Mingione had all the control in this game. And the home plate umpire's got to be better about that. I think that if you're really going to place blame on somebody, it's got to be on the home plate umpire. He did a horrible job speeding the game up, and he allowed this kind of stuff to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of the travel curfew. I think it should be a conference rule because obviously when you look at the SEC and you compare it to Okay, maybe the Ivy League. The SEC doesn't need a travel curfew, I think, in my opinion.
They did ask to move it up, by the way, and A&M, I believe, refused.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of. I will say this: there was a lot of head coaches mad this weekend about other teams pulling antics with trying to get games moved and whatnot. So the LSU,
like LSU with
Jay
with
Johnson
that.
was very mad about that. He tried getting the game moved up on Friday. Lamonis said no, which kind of annoyed me because Saturday too, they pushed it back and they could have played it at 2. Lamonis was trying to push that game didn't get played. So yeah, there's a lot of hidden antics from some SEC coaches. I mean, for Kentucky, it worked out. I mean, they're up 10-5. Like, let's be real. Yes, Kentucky's bullpen has not been the best, but was A&M going to come back?
Where were they in the order? They had top of the order up. No.
Ben
had 7, 8, 9. Because Ben Royo, because he told Ben, according to his post-game press conference, he told Ben Royo to strike out. Which, by the way, I have a question for you. Why doesn't Ben Royo just leave the field and then get the violation? If they're doing all this chicken shit, just get the violation. Like, don't go in the box.
Yeah, he should have forfeited his bat.
I remember when I played one time, we kind of got youth baseball actually makes sense because you don't get some jackass on there like that plays a game.
Yeah.
I was on deck and the guy who was on first just like walked off the field. And they were like, "Oh yeah, he's out of the baseline. He's out."
Yeah, just
this is the SEC though. Why does the conference allow that to happen? Why?
So
it's not Kentucky's fault.
It's not. It's the conference's fault. I think it's different if you're the Big Ten with a travel curfew where you have teams like Washington played Rutgers this weekend. If Washington didn't have a midweek against St. John's tomorrow and Washington had to fly cross country back to Spokane, then yes, it's okay. Travel curfew.
Yeah, by the
way,
way,
get this done by 4:30.
Seattle.
Or Seattle. I was thinking Gonzaga. My bad.
Gonzaga. Did you see that interview with Kelvin Sampson? Where he got all butthurt for no reason.
I can't stand Kelvin Sampson.
I don't want that recorded. What I think about Kelvin Sampson.
I don't care. I'm never gonna meet him.
I don't want that on. I don't want Kelvin Sampson to know I exist.
So yeah, it's a difference if Washington has to fly cross country. Kentucky's got to take a 2-hour charter flight. It's not like they're
flew commercial.
They flew commercial?
Yes.
Okay, maybe then it's okay. Maybe it's different then. Maybe it's a little different. But they probably had the last flight out of College Station.
So here was the funniest part about this, by the way, and I assumed they were flying that they bused to Houston because that's what the football team did.
Yeah.
It started to rain on my way home from the Houston game. I thought that would have been hilarious if the flight got delayed leaving. I don't think it did. I didn't check because I didn't know where their layover was going to be because I don't think there's a direct flight to Lexington.
If they flew like Allegiant, there probably was because I know Allegiant is like a hub into Lexington. But for college coaches, flying is kind of a pet peeve. I can speak on this from from what I've heard from my head coach. He's said at times when we've had to fly, he's like, I'm just praying. Like if our flight doesn't get canceled, it's a perfect weekend then. Perfect weekend. And we've had flights where we show up to the airport, we wait at our gate for 3 hours, and then we have to go home because our plane didn't show up. So it's different, I think,
So
depending on the conference.
We'll move on. We'll kind of be quick here with these final two series just because I really don't think that there's too much to read into them. Arkansas absolutely obliterates Vanderbilt 9-0, 6-4, and 7-3. Zach Root was tremendous on Friday night. Beetle Cheese in the back end did his normal Beetle Cheese things. Dare I say Arkansas is a hitting team?
I keep on saying this on the show that I can't believe people were concerned about this Arkansas team.
I was concerned about them.
I was concerned too, because you look at this team and you look at a Dave Van Horn team and you think to yourself, okay, yeah, this team should be hitting the ball, and here they are. They have gotten ridiculously hot with the bats. It's very fun to watch. Charles.
Here's the part that's, I think, the scariest is that Nolan Souza, who we have a question, by the way. Every single media guy around Arkansas was like, Souza. You got to talk about him. He's going to be the darling. He's hitting like 205 and regularly finds himself in and out of the lineup. So if he gets going, like, I think that they're going to be scary. Can you guys help me understand why people don't talk about conference play statistics more? Teams with easier non-conference schedules tout their guys' stats when in reality they're SEC stats. I agree. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think we've talked about it a few times. Liam Doyle having that +6 ERA. Brody Donay is kind of the biggest merchant. I got an under-the-radar one for you that no one talks about. Caden Kent. Caden Kent is quietly really bad in conference play.
Yeah.
Let me see that.
You look at him in this lineup, like I finally mentioned it. Terrence Keel on he's hitting 4 for A&M right now.
No, he batted leadoff.
He's not talked about. So my note got to
Caden Kent is hitting 210. Pre-SEC play, he was hitting 265. Alabama, he had 1 hit over the weekend. Vanderbilt, he had 2 hits over the weekend, and then this past weekend he had 1 hit. He went 0 for 6, 0 for 4, 1 for 4, 0 for 4, 0 for 4, 2 for 5.
It's
0 for 3, 0 for 3, 1 for 4. But I mean, Arkansas is a good team, and I think that this is kind of finally the first time that every single person that thinks very connected in media, and I think you and I have talked about it, about Arkansas or Vanderbilt's inability to string hits together and be a dominant hitting team, I think really kind of came to fruition this weekend.
Yeah.
And I was trying to tell people that with Vanderbilt when A&M went up there and got swept. It's like Vanderbilt's it's not the Vanderbilt of old.
No.
They've been definitely, honestly, it feels like that they're like a Tennessee or a Georgia where they're a solid team, but you would have to mess up for them to beat you. And A&M did mess up, and that's why Vanderbilt beat them. Arkansas didn't, and that's why Arkansas did it. I feel really, 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 really good about Arkansas going forward.
So do I.
But they always bite us in the ass.
I feel like the way their schedule is coordinated in the back end of this stretch.
Holy shit! Yeah, you weren't kidding.
They cannot mess up. They host Texas.
I'll be there for that one. They host LSU. I'll probably go to that one.
They come to Baton Rouge, and then they end the season at home against Tennessee.
Which, I mean, and they play Florida, dude.
Yeah, Florida. Hopefully they'll be healthy. Pierce Coppola should be back pretty soon, from what I've heard.
Luckily, they play A&M and Missouri, which are one and the same. But
hey, they got midweeks against Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Little Rock sprinkled in there. So
our boy, what's our coach's name at Pine Bluff?
Logan Stout.
We're big fans of Logan Stout, so maybe Logan Stout and the boys. I believe they are still winless outside of the friendly confines. Oh no, they won a game. I do apologize. They did beat Little Rock a few weeks back.
Yes, they did.
They swept Alcorn State, followed it up by getting swept by Alabama State. Should I go see them when they play at Lamar? Should I go see them?
Oh, I can tell you my buddy. I can give you my buddy's name.
They're going to Arkansas is by blow.
I can tell you my buddy. He might actually pitch that game. So yes, please go.
Do you have any notes on Arkansas Vanderbilt before we move on to our final series?
Very good team. This pitching staff's only going to get better. Zach Root, Gabe Gackles, finally, like, he was kind of rocky in game 2, I feel like, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
But I think Zach
He grinded.
I think Zach Root's he's so good. And then, this bullpen's been phenomenal, and they're gonna only get better. Gage Wood's gonna be back. It looks like in a couple weeks, from what I've heard. It's been week to week with him. So I don't know if they're going to shut him down yet, but
who knows? We will move on to our final series. The Georgia Bulldogs sweep the 11th ranked Auburn Tigers completely out of their stadium. Charlie Goldstein was really great for them. Colton Smith picked up the slack on Friday. Saturday they do a doubleheader, and it was completely dead until it wasn't for both teams, honestly. Brian Curley goes 5 innings, but really did get chased there. Sunday, Georgia did their usual string it together. The best start of the weekend was Brian Curley with 5 innings. Colton Smith kind of. Friday, they hit 2 home runs of their 4. Good job for them not looking ahead. Derek Fabian kind of returned back to the Derek Fabian that we had been worried about, so maybe we should go back to being bad about him because he didn't play very good this weekend. Bub Terrell continued to be good. Ike Irish looks completely healthy. He's just hitting bombs. I absolutely love this Georgia team, as you can tell.
yeah.
I'm really excited to get to see them in person against Texas. I think that we'll talk about that one a lot on Wednesday because I think that that's like the series of the year so far. This Georgia team is just so deep. Every single I'm gonna be there for 5 hours on Saturday, and I'm gonna absolutely love it. Like they just bang the ball around the yard.
So it's crazy, it's crazy how good this hitting is, and like the pitching's okay. It's getting there, I think. But yeah, tomorrow our SEC stats will be getting tweeted out every hour on the hour. You're just gonna see Robbie Burnett's name. You're gonna see Rylan Zaborowski's name. You're going to see Nolan McCarthy's name all over, Daniel Jackson. You're going to just see those names constantly. Christian Adams, West Palm
Branch.
But even Auburn, yes, Auburn lost this weekend. Auburn blew that second game of the doubleheader.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worried about Auburn, I think, because so they get LSU next weekend. I got
it right in front of me if you need me to read it off for you.
They get Bama this weekend at home.
Bama, LSU, Texas, Mississippi State, Tennessee, South Carolina, Ole Miss.
I know Caleb's going to love to hear this, but I think Auburn takes 2 out of 3 from Bama this weekend. So
I don't.
I
just realized we forgot about Bama. That was a good catch.
That's what I said. We did forget about Bama, Oklahoma. We went on that long rant. We went on a long rant about South Carolina, Mississippi State, and travel issues in the SEC. So,
sometimes you're just going to lose series, and especially on the road. This one felt like a real throwback SEC series where Auburn's in the game, they just kind of lose. I think Auburn's a solid squad. I think you just got Georgia. I will say this: I'm not sure how long Georgia Ing is going to. Is that Georgia Ing or George Ing? Which one should we? What's the official ruling on that?
Georgia Ing.
Where you just score 1 million runs. You're not Clemsoning, but actually good.
But the thing is, on Friday, pitching was actually pretty solid.
Sam Dutton did get chased in the 5th, though. He did get chased in the 5th.
Yeah.
And he had it until he didn't, which is very scary against Georgia when you lose it.
But Cade Fisher was okay. His control issues have been something else lately. Cade Fisher's starting to look better, and then game 2.
By the way, what happened to him?
He's got the freshman. He realized he was a freshman again, and it's
he went from us raving about how good he was.
That's on me, Christian. If you watch this, that's on me. I'm so sorry.
We raved about him. They might have to move him into the Saturday or Friday role.
Carson Myers came in after him and just dominated.
Yeah, he did get a big boost from him. I don't think he's made it out of the first inning in back to
The
back
last so I think last weekend he didn't get an out. This weekend he did.
So in 2 outings, he hasn't even recorded a full inning of work. He's doing the Clayton Fresh corn.
Yeah,
that's really mean, by the way. That was really mean. Lastly, probably the most competitive series of the weekend, the one that I saw the most. That honestly, I got a ton of FOMO for anybody that was there. The Alabama Crimson Tide take 2 of 3, 8-6 on Friday, 6-5 on Saturday, and then on Sunday, OU kind of came on late with 2 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th. Really just ran out of time. No Riley Quick, right? That was what the
no
issue
Riley
was?
Quick. He had a blood blister. He got it drained, from what I've heard the other day. I don't know if he's gonna be back because those blood blisters are a pain in the butt.
Yeah, Bobby Alcock was good enough, 6 innings, and then Aiden Finateri, the old Georgia Tech transfer, he gave him a ton of stuff. Carson Osmer slammed the door on Sunday for him. Bama's bullpen hasn't been taxed a ton, but it is a really solid one. The lineup has a ton of depth, but I think the thing that I came away from this one felt like a super regional. Like OU's good enough to hang into this one. They had a 6-5 lead in the 8th before, Bama kind of came on. Saturday, obviously, I believe 2 they had late. Yeah, I mean, they scored 2 in the 9th and for OU. So, I mean, OU's a resilient group. Sunday was the Dayton Talkie show. I really like the approach that he has. Jackson Walk. Where'd it go? Jason Walk. Yeah, I was right.
Yeah.
I saw Jackson Willetts at the same time. At the top of that order, he's pretty good for him. Trey Gimble, Easton Carmichael's, I think, one of the best players in the SEC no one talks about.
Mm-hmm.
They're a resilient group. But the flip side, I mean, these are the 2 most resilient teams, I think, in the SEC. They don't have as much talent, I think, as Tennessee, LSU, but they're definitely the scrappiest. Like OU has chaos and Alabama has, tough, rugged bastards. I think that those are kind of the best way to describe these 2 teams.
Yeah, I mean, Alabama, Rob Vaughn, and I think we're going to see his name get linked to some very big coaching opportunities if they are presented this summer.
Can I go ahead and shut that one down, Andrew?
Really?
There is a 0% chance Rob Vaughn goes to Texas A&M. I will put that out there into the world.
Okay, that's who I was referring to. But yeah, I think he's still hurt about not getting an interview last summer.
And Michael Early's like his best friend in coaching. There is not a world where Rob Vaughn goes to Texas A&M and replaces Michael Early. I'm sorry. That would be the ultimate backstab from Rob Vaughn. And Rob Vaughn's not like that at all. Rob Vaughn is a super loyalty guy.
Yeah.
A&M missed him as a player.
Yeah.
Like
he's done such a good job with this Alabama team.
But there is no way Rob Vaughn takes that job. They played in the pros together. I don't know if a lot of people realize that. Like they were on the same team. And Rob Vaughn's a great high character dude. High character dudes don't leave jobs like that.
Yeah. I think Alabama.
Again, he's not going to stay at Alabama forever, but he's not leaving Alabama to replace his best friend who just got ran out of town.
I think so. I think with the way Alabama's shaping up and like just their athletics department with football, basketball, baseball, they're shaping up to be one of the best teams. If Rob Vaughn can continue to do what he's doing there, they are going to be like soon in that category of like UF with how like they've been good like consistently with football, basketball, baseball. Like I really see
Auburn,
Tennessee. It's like
I'll say this. I think the biggest thing with it too is that Alabama people hate Auburn. They've been to Omaha twice in the last 6 years.
Yeah.
Alabama people hate Tennessee. They just won the national championship.
So Auburn's just got to hate you, and you're going to be phenomenal.
Yeah. So I think that's the thing is that their 2 biggest rivals are really, really good at baseball. And it is the South. I bet you 70% of the students at Alabama played baseball in high school. So, I mean, it could turn into a rowdy place really fast. Rob Vaughn's not leaving that.
and some and how good both of these closers are. Carson Osmer and Dylan Crooks for Oklahoma, Osmer for Alabama. Two of the best closers in the country in the SEC. They are phenomenal.
I like Jason Bodine. I know that he didn't have his best stuff, but Jason Bodine's another guy that's really good for OU. OU quietly has a really good bullpen.
Yeah.
And they're anti-A&M.
Yeah.
They just find way. You look up and you're like, why is OU winning this game? And they just win games. Even on Saturday when they beat Bama.
Even so Sunday, I think Bama, I think that box score and the game shows something just way different because of the 2 rain delays. It's not like they're a big like hour and a half rain delays or like 30 to 45-minute rain delays. I think they just like I think Bama really won that game like 8-2, not 8-6. That's how I feel though.
I mean, they did score 2 in let me see. Yeah, it was 8. That was the Dayton Taki game. Yeah, Dayton Taki homered in the 8th. Dayton Taki, I believe, homered earlier. No, he just singled. That's going to be one where Alabama's really going to like that they took 2 of 3. I think is kind of the best way to describe it.
It's like one of those series. It's like
their schedule gets really light.
Yeah.
They play at Auburn. They play Mississippi State. Ooh, I might have to go to that LSU series.
Yeah, they host LSU or they come here.
I think that's Easter weekend too.
Oh, lovely.
They play Missouri. They play at Vandy, which hot take. There's probably more Alabama grads in Nashville than there are Vanderbilt grads.
Yeah. So looking at their schedule, they really only have that back half of this, like the final 2. They get.
You don't know what Florida's going to be playing for. Yeah. I will say this: those last weekends are always kind of tough because you don't know who needs it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they get Missouri at a perfect time.
Yeah, they get their Missouri bye.
So it's
that'll probably be like where everybody kind of like somebody will almost lose to Missouri, so it'll wake everybody up.
Yeah. They did get hit with the injury bug a little. LeBron with his wrist, I've heard he was fine, and obviously you heard that he was fine. But who was it? They're 2 outfielders, the ones that I can't say.
Bonamolo.
It was Bonamolo and Fowler collided.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And I think it was Fowler had to get stitches on his hand. And
Cade and Richie is what one of our comments said.
Cade and Richie. It was Cade, Snell, and Richie. I think it was Richie passed his concussion test, and then Cade left with
Richie Bonamolo.
Yeah,
I know they moved him up into the leadoff spot later. I thought that was absolutely mind-boggling that he was hitting in the 9 hole. Like, I was like, what?
But it's that double leadoff take that I talked about. It's like how Jay Johnson has Chris Stanfield hitting 9th. It's like, okay, Richie's going to work good at bats down there. He's good enough. Or he's not good enough. He's great enough to be a leadoff hitter.
He's old.
Yeah, he's got the veteran experience. This lineup's so talented. You can put guys at any position. You can have LeBron hit 3rd. You can have him hit 2nd. Yeah, I'm not worried about this team.
I'm not either. Andrew, this was definitely our longest show of the year. Hopefully we're not talking too many injuries going forward. Yeah. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We will go ahead and clip this up. See everybody Wednesday at 7:00. Well, it might be Thursday at lunch, not live, because I was going to go see RGV.
Yeah, and I'm covering Tulane on Wednesday.
So we will play it by ear with that one, but we'll see everybody then. Thanks everybody for tuning in.